My name is David Chen, and for 16 years, I thought loyalty meant something in the corporate world. 16 years of arriving early and leaving late, of training every manager who eventually got promoted above me, of stepping into crisis situations that nobody else wanted to touch. I started at Meridian Solutions fresh out of college in 2008, right when the economy was collapsing and companies were laying off workers left and right. Most of my classmates couldn't find jobs, but I was grateful just to have a desk and a steady paycheck at this mid-sized consulting firm. David, you're exactly the kind of person we need, my original manager Janet had said during my first week. Smart, dedicated, willing to learn. You're going to do great things here. And I believed her. God help me, I really believed her. 2010. The Harrison Industries crisis. David, I need you to take over the Harrison account, my new boss, Michael Torres, had said, dropping a thick folder on my desk. The previous account manager just quit, and they're threatening to walk unless we turn things around fast. Harrison Industries was our third largest client, worth $2.8 million annually, and they were furious about months of poor service and missed deadlines. What's the timeline? I'd asked. You have 2 weeks to present a complete turnaround strategy, or we lose them. Before we dive into this story of epic workplace revenge, if you enjoy tales of people discovering their true worth and getting the justice they deserve, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. I'd spent the next 14 days practically living at the office, analyzing their business model, identifying inefficiencies, and crafting a comprehensive restructuring plan. I'd interviewed their entire executive team, reviewed 5 years of operational data, and created a presentation that addressed every single concern they'd raised. The presentation was a home run. Harrison Industries not only stayed, they expanded their contract by 40%. Michael got the credit and a $15,000 bonus. 2012. Building the training program. David, we need someone to develop a comprehensive training program for new hires, Michael had announced during a team meeting. Our onboarding process is a mess, and it's costing us productivity. I'd spent 6 months creating a training curriculum from scratch. Everything from client relations to project management to company culture. I'd interviewed every department head, surveyed recent hires about their experiences, and researched best practices from across the industry. The program was so successful that other companies started trying to poach our newly trained employees. Our retention rate jumped from 68% to 91% within a year. Michael presented the program to the board as his innovation. He got promoted to vice president. 2014. The Reynolds Department disaster. David, I've got a situation, Michael had said, calling me into his office with a grim expression. The Reynolds product development team is in complete chaos. 3 project managers have quit in 2 months. They're 6 weeks behind on their biggest launch, and the client is talking about legal action. The Reynolds department was a nightmare. Demoralized staff, unclear processes, and a toxic manager who'd been driving away talent for months. What do you need me to do? I'd asked. Fix it. Whatever it takes. I'd spent the next 8 months completely rebuilding the department. I'd replaced the toxic manager, restructured their entire workflow, implemented new project management systems, and personally coached every team member through the transition. The Reynolds launch not only happened on time, it was their most successful product debut in company history. Michael took full credit in his presentation to corporate headquarters. They offered him the regional director position. 2016. The Norton account resurrection. Norton Technologies had been one of our oldest clients until a series of miscommunications and service failures led them to terminate their contract. We'd lost $1.9 million in annual revenue, and morale was at an all-time low. David, I know this is a long shot, but do you think there's any way to win Norton back? Michael had asked. Give me 3 months, I'd said. I'd spent those 3 months rebuilding relationships with Norton's executive team, addressing every complaint they'd ever raised, and developing a service model specifically tailored to their needs. I'd worked weekends and holidays, making personal calls to their key decision-makers and proving that we'd learned from our mistakes. Norton came back with a contract 50% larger than their original one. Michael's name went on the announcement as the architect of Norton's return. 2018. The Great Departure. By 2018, 3 of our biggest competitors had tried to headhunt me. I'd politely declined each time, still believing that loyalty would eventually be rewarded. "David, you're turning down some incredible opportunities," my wife Lisa had said over dinner after I'd told her about the latest offer from Blackstone Consulting. "Why do you keep saying no?" "Because I believe in this company," I'd replied. "Michael's been talking about promoting me to senior manager. After everything I've contributed, it's just a matter of time." Lisa had given me a look that was equal parts love and exasperation. "Honey, you've been saying that for 8 years. 2019. The Carson Industries turnaround. Carson Industries was hemorrhaging money and considering bankruptcy when they hired us as a last resort. Their CEO, Margaret Carson, was desperate. "I've heard you're the miracle worker," she'd said during our first meeting. "Because that's what we need. A miracle." I'd spent 4 months analyzing their operations, identifying cost savings, restructuring their supply chain, and developing a 5-year recovery plan. The work required 18-hour days and constant travel between their 12 locations. The turnaround was spectacular. Carson Industries went from near bankruptcy to profitability within 18 months. Margaret Carson personally called our CEO to praise the work. Michael got the company's Excellence in Client Relations Award. 2020. The pandemic response. When COVID hit, companies were panicking about how to maintain operations with remote workforces. I'd developed a complete remote work integration system in 3 weeks. Video conferencing protocols, digital collaboration tools, virtual team building strategies, everything. Our clients not only survived the pandemic, they thrived. We became known as the firm that could seamlessly manage remote operations. Michael was featured in Business Weekly as a pandemic leadership pioneer. 2021. The Watson Group integration. When we acquired the Watson Group, their team was hostile and their processes were completely incompatible with ours. The integration was supposed to take 12 months. "David, I need you to make this work," Michael had said. "If this acquisition fails, it could tank our entire growth strategy for the next 5 years." I'd spent 10 months serving as a bridge between the two cultures, training Watson employees on our systems, adapting their best practices for our use, and mediating conflicts between the teams. The integration was completed in 8 months, under budget and ahead of schedule. The Watson Group's revenue doubled within a year of joining us. Michael presented the integration success story at the National Consulting Conference. 2022. The training revolution. "David, our training program is getting stale," Michael had said. "Competitors are catching up. We need something revolutionary." I'd spent the entire year developing an immersive training experience, virtual reality scenarios, AI-powered coaching modules, real-time feedback systems. It was like nothing the industry had ever seen. The new program was so innovative that Harvard Business School asked to use it as a case study. Our client satisfaction scores jumped to industry-leading levels. Michael was invited to speak at TED about the future of professional development. 2023. The Sterling Dynamics masterpiece. Sterling Dynamics came to us with the most complex operational challenge I'd ever seen. A multi-billion-dollar corporation with subsidiaries across 17 countries, all using different systems and processes. Everyone else said it was impossible. Their CEO, Robert Sterling, had told me. "But I've heard you specialize in impossible." The Sterling project took 14 months of my life. I'd traveled to 14 countries, learned 6 different business systems, coordinated with teams in 12 time zones, and created a unified operational framework that somehow satisfied everyone. The result was a 34% increase in operational efficiency and $180 million in annual cost savings. Robert Sterling sent a personal letter to our CEO calling me the most talented operational strategist he'd ever worked with. Michael got promoted to executive vice president. And through all of this, 16 years of dedication, innovation, and results, I'd remained in the same position. Senior associate. The same title I'd held since 2012. But I'd kept believing, kept telling myself that recognition would come. That loyalty mattered. That hard work would eventually be rewarded. I was about to learn how wrong I was. March 15th, 2024. I remember the date because it was the day my illusions died. I'd scheduled a meeting with Michael to discuss my career trajectory. After the success of the Sterling Dynamics project and 16 years of consistent performance, I figured it was time for an honest conversation about my future at the company. "Michael, thanks for making time," I said, settling into the chair across from his massive oak desk. His office had gotten bigger and more expensive with each promotion. Promotions built on my work. "Of course, David. What's on your mind?" He didn't look up from his computer screen. "I wanted to talk about my role here and potential growth opportunities. It's been 12 years since my last significant promotion, and I feel like I've demonstrated—" David. He finally looked up, and there was something condescending in his smile that I'd never noticed before. "Let me stop you right there." I felt a chill run down my spine, but I pressed on. "I think my track record speaks for itself. The Harrison turnaround, the training programs, the Sterling project—" "Those were team efforts," Michael interrupted, waving his hand dismissively. "You can't take credit for everything that happens around here." Team efforts. I'd done most of that work alone, often over weekends and holidays while the team was home with their families. "I understand that," I said carefully, "but I was hoping we could discuss a salary adjustment. I haven't had a meaningful raise in 4 years, and given the value I've brought to the company—" Michael leaned back in his leather chair and chuckled. Actually chuckled. "David, let me be frank with you. You're lucky we keep you around at all. You're just dead weight now. The industry's changing, and frankly, your skill set is becoming obsolete." The words hit me like a physical blow. Dead weight. After 16 years of building this company's reputation, training its managers, saving its biggest accounts, I was dead weight. "I'm sorry, what?" I managed to say, my voice barely above a whisper. "Look, I appreciate your dedication over the years. But the reality is, any recent MBA could do what you do, probably for half the salary. You're expensive, you're set in your ways, and honestly, you're holding back some of our younger talent." I sat there in stunned silence, feeling like the floor had dropped out from under me. Any recent MBA could do what I do? I'd just orchestrated the most complex operational integration in the company's history. "The fact is," Michael continued, apparently mistaking my silence for acceptance, "you should be grateful we haven't restructured you out already. Most companies would have moved on from someone like you by now. Someone like me. Someone who'd given up evenings and weekends and family time to make this company successful. Someone who'd turned down multiple offers from competitors out of loyalty." "So?" I said, my voice steady despite the rage building in my chest. "No raise. No promotion. Just gratitude for being kept around." "Exactly. I'm glad you understand. Now, I've got a conference call with Singapore in 5 minutes, so—" He turned back to his computer, dismissing me like I was some junior employee who'd taken up too much of his valuable time. I stood up slowly, my legs feeling unsteady beneath me. "Thank you, Michael," I said, my voice calm and professional. "This has been very enlightening." Good. Glad we cleared the air. Sometimes these conversations are necessary, you know. Better to be honest than to let people live in unrealistic expectations. I walked to his office door and paused, my hand on the handle. "Michael? Yeah? You're absolutely right. It is better to be honest. Thanks for finally showing me who you really are." He looked up, perhaps hearing something in my tone that made him pay attention for the first time in years. "What do you mean?" I smiled. A cold, professional smile that didn't reach my eyes. Nothing important. Just dead weight recognizing dead weight. "Have a good day." I walked out of his office, through the bustling main floor where I'd spent 16 years of my life, and straight to my desk. My hands were steady as I opened my laptop and began typing. "Dear Michael, please accept this letter as my formal resignation from Meridian Solutions, effective immediately." But that was just the beginning. I had some phone calls to make. That evening, I sat in my home office, the same space where I'd worked countless nights and weekends for Michael's benefit, and opened my laptop. Lisa was at her book club, giving me the privacy I needed to make some very important calls. The first number I dialed belonged to Sarah Martinez, my former trainee who was now managing the Harrison Industries account. David, what's up? Working late again? Sarah, I need to tell you something, and I need you to keep it confidential for now. Of course. What's going on? I resigned today. The line went quiet for a long moment. You what? David, why? What happened? I told her about the meeting with Michael, about being called dead weight, about 16 years of work being dismissed as team efforts. That son of a bitch, Sarah said, her voice tight with anger. David, you know that's complete garbage, right? You've saved this company more times than I can count. I appreciate that, Sarah. But I'm calling because I want you to know what's coming. Michael's going to try to dump all my accounts on you and the rest of the team. It's not fair, and you shouldn't accept it without proper compensation. What are you going to do? I'm going to prove that dead weight can float pretty well on its own. My second call was to James Parker, who'd been managing the Carson Industries relationship since I'd turned it around. David, how's the evening treating you? James, I've got news. I resigned today. Jesus, what? Why? After explaining the situation, James was even angrier than Sarah. That's insane, David. You're the reason half our clients stay with us. Michael's an idiot if he can't see that. James, I need to ask you something, and I want you to think carefully before you answer. Shoot. Are you happy here? Really happy? Because I'm about to have some very interesting opportunities available, and I remember you mentioning that you felt undervalued. David, are you saying what I think you're saying? I'm saying that loyalty should flow both ways. And maybe it's time we all found places where our contributions are actually appreciated. My third call was to Margaret Carson, CEO of Carson Industries. David? What a pleasant surprise. How are you? I'm well, Margaret. I'm calling with some news that might affect your account with Meridian Solutions. Oh, I've resigned, effective immediately. I wanted to give you advance notice because I know how important consistency is for your operations. Margaret was quiet for a moment. David, can I ask why? You've been fantastic to work with. Creative differences with management. But I'm calling because I wanted you to know that I'll be moving to a new firm very soon, and if Carson Industries is interested in exploring options. Are you asking what I think you're asking? I'm asking if you'd be interested in continuing our professional relationship in a new setting, assuming it makes business sense for Carson Industries. David, let me be clear about something. The only reason we stayed with Meridian after the initial turnaround was because of you. If you're not there anymore, we have no reason to be there either. That was exactly what I was hoping to hear. My fourth call was to Robert Sterling. David, this is unexpected. How's the integration going? Actually, Robert, that's why I'm calling. I've left Meridian Solutions as of today. What? Why would you leave? You're their best asset. Management disagreed with that assessment, but I'm calling because I wanted to discuss the future of Sterling Dynamics' consulting relationship. Go on. I'll be joining a new firm very soon, one that specializes in complex operational integrations, if Sterling Dynamics would be interested in exploring a partnership. David, let me save us both some time. Sterling Dynamics doesn't have a relationship with Meridian Solutions. We have a relationship with you. Where you go, we go. Perfect. My fifth call was to Emma Rodriguez at Blackstone Consulting, one of Meridian's biggest competitors. David Chen. What a surprise. Please tell me you're finally ready to have that conversation we've been putting off for 2 years. Emma, I'm very ready to have that conversation. Are you available for coffee tomorrow morning? For you? I'm available right now. What changed your mind? Let's just say I finally got some clarity about my value in the marketplace. I love the sound of that. David, I'm going to be direct. We want you. We've wanted you for years. Name your terms. I don't just want a job, Emma. I want to build something. I want equity. I want a team. And I want the freedom to do things the right way. Keep talking. I'm thinking a new division focused on complex operational consulting. I'd bring my methodology, my client relationships, and a hand-picked team of the best people I've worked with. David, what you're describing is exactly what we've been planning to launch. We just needed the right person to lead it. Are you saying you're interested in a partnership-level position? I'm saying I'm interested in proving that some people aren't dead weight. They're the foundation. After I hung up with Emma, I made 3 more calls to team members I'd trained over the years. Marcus Webb, who managed our client retention programs, Jennifer Walsh, who ran our process optimization department, and Alex Kumar, our best project manager. All 3 conversations went the same way. Shock at the news of my resignation, anger at Michael's treatment of me, and very interested questions about future opportunities. By 11 p.m., I had a plan. By midnight, I had commitments from 5 former colleagues and 4 major clients. Michael thought he was cutting dead weight. He was about to discover he'd cut the rope holding up his entire company. Friday morning, I walked into the Meridian Solutions office for the last time. I'd been there 16 years, but somehow it already felt like a foreign place. I'd timed my arrival carefully, 7:30 a.m., early enough that Michael wouldn't be in yet, but late enough that most of my team would be at their desks. I wanted to handle the transition professionally, which was more than Michael deserved, but consistent with who I was. Sarah was the first to see me coming. "David, how are you feeling?" she asked, her voice loaded with meaning. "I'm feeling optimistic about the future," I replied, loud enough for others to hear. "Very optimistic." Marcus looked up from his desk. "David, can we talk privately for a minute?" "Of course." We walked to one of the small conference rooms, and Marcus closed the door behind us. "I've been thinking about our conversation last night," he said. "And I've made a decision." "Oh? If you're really starting this new division at Blackstone, I want in. I've been here 8 years, David, and you're the only person who's ever really mentored me or given me opportunities to grow." "Marcus, I appreciate that, but I want you to be sure. This is a big decision." "David, do you know why I've stayed here as long as I have?" I shook my head. "Because of you. You made this place tolerable. You taught me everything I know about client management. And yesterday, when I heard how Michael treated you, that was the last straw." "What about your mortgage? Your kids' college fund?" "Blackstone is offering 40% more than what I make here, plus equity in the new division. My kids will be fine." Before I could respond, there was a knock on the conference room door. Jennifer Walsh poked her head in. "Sorry to interrupt, but can I join this conversation? I think we're all thinking the same thing." Over the next 2 hours, I had similar conversations with Alex Kumar, 2 junior associates I trained, and even Tom Bradley from accounting, someone who'd never been in my direct chain but had always appreciated how I treated the support staff. By 10 a.m., I had verbal commitments from 7 employees to join me at Blackstone. By 11 a.m., Michael finally arrived at the office. "Sarah, where's David? I need him to review the Henderson project proposal." "Michael," Sarah said, her voice carefully neutral. "David resigned yesterday. His letter should be on your desk." I watched from across the office as Michael's face went through a series of expressions. Confusion, disbelief, then something that might have been panic. He stormed into his office and came back out 30 seconds later, my resignation letter in his hand. "This is ridiculous," he announced to no one in particular. "David can't just leave without notice. There are contracts. There are client obligations." "Actually," Jennifer said, looking up from her computer, "David's employment agreement allows for immediate resignation. I helped HR draft the standard contract 3 years ago." Michael's face was turning red. "Well, then we need to redistribute his accounts immediately. Sarah, you'll take Harrison Industries. Marcus, you get Carson. Jennifer, Sterling Dynamics is yours." "About that," Marcus said, standing up from his desk, "I'm also resigning, effective immediately." Michael's jaw dropped. "What?" "I'm sorry, Michael, but I'm following David to Blackstone Consulting." "You can't be serious." "I am. My resignation letter will be on your desk within the hour." Jennifer cleared her throat. "Michael, I hate to pile on, but I'm also resigning. David offered me the chance to head up process optimization for a new division, and I'd be crazy not to take it." The color was draining from Michael's face. "This is insane. You can't all just leave." Alex Kumar raised his hand. "Actually, I'm leaving too. David's offered me a senior project manager position with significantly better compensation." Michael looked around the office wildly, as if he couldn't believe what was happening. This is corporate sabotage. David has poisoned you all against the company. No, Sarah said quietly. You did that all by yourself yesterday when you called the most valuable person in this office dead weight. Sarah, surely you're not. I'm resigning too, Michael. David's offered me a chance to be a senior account manager, which is a position I've been asking for here for 3 years. Michael staggered backward like he'd been physically hit. In the space of 2 hours, he'd lost his entire top-performing team. This is a conspiracy, he said, his voice getting louder. This is industrial espionage. I'll sue. You'll what? I said, stepping out of the elevator where I'd been watching the proceedings. I'd gone down to the parking garage to get some boxes for my personal items, and the timing of my return was perfect. David, you orchestrated this. You convinced them all to quit. I didn't convince anyone of anything, Michael. I just offered them the same thing I've been asking for. Respect, fair compensation, and recognition for their contributions. This is theft. You're stealing my employees. Your employees? I laughed, and the sound was cold. Michael, these people have been asking you for advancement opportunities for years. Sarah's been requesting a promotion for 3 years. Marcus has been underpaid compared to industry standards for 2 years. Jennifer created the process optimization program that saved this company $2.3 million annually, and you've never even acknowledged her contribution. That's not... We can't just... There are budgets, there are procedures. There are also other companies, Michael. Companies that understand the difference between an expense and an investment. Michael looked around the office desperately. Half the desks were empty as people had left for early lunch, and the remaining employees were watching the confrontation with undisguised fascination. Fine, he said, his voice cracking slightly. Go. All of you. But don't think you can take our clients with you. We have contracts. We have legal protections. You're absolutely right, I said calmly. You do have contracts, legal protections, everything you need to keep your clients happy and satisfied with Meridian Solutions. Something in my tone made him pause. What do you mean? I mean that you're about to discover whether your clients have relationships with Meridian Solutions or whether they have relationships with the people who actually do the work. Before Michael could respond, his phone rang. Then Sarah's phone. Then Jennifer's phone. Michael picked up his line. Meridian Solutions, this is Michael Torres. I could hear the voice on the other end, even from across the room. Michael, this is Margaret Carson. I'm calling to inform you that Carson Industries is terminating our consulting agreement, effective immediately. Michael's face went white. Margaret, I don't understand. Is there a problem with our service? The problem is that David Chen is no longer with your company. Our contract was contingent on his continued involvement. Since he's no longer available, we're exercising our right to terminate with 30 days' notice. Michael looked at me with something approaching hatred. Margaret, I'm sure we can work something out. David was just one member of our team. Michael, let me be clear. David wasn't just one member of your team. He was the reason we stayed with Meridian after our initial crisis. Without him, you have nothing we need. The line went dead. Sarah's phone call was similar. Harrison Industries terminating their contract. Jennifer's call was from Sterling Dynamics, also terminating. Within an hour, Meridian Solutions had lost $8.7 million in annual contracts. Michael sat in his office chair, staring at the resignation letters piling up on his desk, as his phone rang with more cancellation calls. I walked over to his office and knocked on the doorframe. Michael? He looked up, his eyes hollow. What do you want, David? I wanted to thank you. Thank me? Yesterday, you showed me exactly how much I was worth to this company. Today, I'm showing you exactly how much this company was worth without me. This isn't over, David. I'll fight this. You'll what, Michael? Sue your former clients for choosing who they want to work with? Sue your former employees for taking better jobs? Sue me for being exactly as valuable as I always told you I was? I placed my final box of personal items on his desk. Oh, and Michael, I have one more thing to tell you. What? I smiled. The first genuine smile I'd felt in years. Thanks for calling me dead weight. It's amazing how much a company can sink once you remove the dead weight from their paychecks. Friday afternoon, I was sitting in my new office at Blackstone Consulting. Yes, they'd given me an office on my first day, something that had taken me 8 years to get at Meridian, when Emma Rodriguez knocked on my door. David, how are you settling in? Better than I expected. The team integration meeting went well this morning. I heard. Sarah Martinez is already working on transitioning the Harrison Industries account, and Marcus has a preliminary proposal ready for Carson Industries' expanded consulting needs. I smiled. It felt good to work with people who moved quickly and efficiently. What about the Sterling Dynamics integration? Jennifer Walsh is presenting her optimization framework to their board next week. Robert Sterling specifically requested her after reviewing her work on the Morrison Group project. My phone buzzed with a text message. I glanced at it. Unknown number. David, this is Michael. We need to talk. Call me immediately. I showed Emma the message and she raised an eyebrow. Your former boss? Apparently. I'm guessing he's having a rough afternoon. Are you going to call him back? I thought about it for a moment, then picked up my phone and started typing. Michael, there's nothing to talk about. You made your position clear yesterday. The response came back immediately. David, this is insane. You can't destroy a company over one conversation. I showed Emma the message and she laughed. One conversation? Is he serious? Apparently. I typed back, I'm not destroying anything, Michael. I'm just letting dead weight sink to its natural level. This isn't a game, David. People are going to lose their jobs. You're right, starting with the people who don't add value. Damn it, David, I was wrong yesterday. I admit it. Can we please discuss this like adults? I stared at the message for a long moment. After 16 years of being dismissed, overlooked, and undervalued, Michael was finally ready to admit he was wrong. Too late. Michael, you called me dead weight. Strange how much of your company followed me when I left. I turned off my phone and looked at Emma. Feel better? She asked. Much better. Now let's talk about the quarterly projections for the new division. But Michael wasn't done. Over the next 2 hours, my phone buzzed repeatedly with calls and texts. I ignored them all until Emma finally said, David, you should probably see what he's saying. It might be entertaining. I turned my phone back on to find 17 missed calls and 12 text messages. The messages told a story of increasing desperation. David, please call me. The senior partners want to discuss your return. We're prepared to offer you the VP position and a 60% salary increase. David, I'm begging you. Half our client base is threatening to leave. The senior partners are talking about restructuring my position. This affects more than just me. David, I have a family. I have a mortgage. Please, we can work this out. I'll admit I was wrong publicly. I'll give you full credit for every project you worked on. Just please come back. David, they're talking about firing me. 16 years with this company, and they're going to fire me over this. The irony wasn't lost on me. Michael was facing the same fear I'd lived with for years, that despite his dedication and time with the company, he could be discarded when he became inconvenient. The final message was the most desperate. David, I know you hate me right now, but I'm asking you person to person. Please don't let this destroy everything we built together. Everything we built together. As if he'd been building anything instead of taking credit for my work. I typed one final response. Michael, I learned something important yesterday. Loyalty and dedication mean nothing if they're not reciprocated. You spent 16 years showing me that I didn't matter to this company. Today, I'm showing you exactly how much this company mattered to me. David, please. No, Michael. You made your choice yesterday when you called me dead weight. I made mine today when I proved you wrong. I blocked his number and turned to Emma. Any word on the client transition meetings? All scheduled for next week. David, I have to ask, do you feel guilty at all about what's happening to Meridian? I thought about it for a moment. Really thought about it. You know what, Emma? I don't. For 16 years, I prioritized that company's success over my own career growth, over my family time, over my own well-being. I gave them everything I had, and when I finally asked for basic recognition, they told me I was lucky they kept me around. And now? Now they're learning the difference between an asset and dead weight. I was never the dead weight, Emma. I was the anchor. And when you cut your anchor loose, well, you find out pretty quickly how much you needed it. My phone rang one more time. Not Michael, but Margaret Carson. David, I wanted to give you an update. We've officially signed the consulting agreement with Blackstone. I also wanted you to know that Carson Industries will be recommending your services to our subsidiary companies. That's potentially $12 million in additional business. Margaret, that's incredible. Thank you for the trust. David, let me ask you something. Do you feel bad about leaving Meridian in such a difficult position? I looked out my new office window at the city skyline, thinking about her question. Margaret, if someone told you that your most valuable employee was worthless and disposable, what would you do? I'd fire the person who said it and give the employee a raise. Exactly. Michael had a choice. He could have recognized my value and invested in keeping me. Instead, he chose to dismiss me as dead weight. I'm just proving that he was wrong. Well, for what it's worth, Carson Industries is thrilled to continue working with you. You saved our company, David. That's not something we forget. After Margaret hung up, Emma leaned back in her chair. David, I'm curious. What do you think is going to happen to Michael? Honestly, I think he's going to learn what I learned yesterday, that sometimes the people you think you can't live without are the ones you can't actually live without. My computer chimed with an email notification. The sender was Richard Hartwell, senior partner at Meridian Solutions. David, I'm writing to formally apologize for Michael Torres' unacceptable treatment of you yesterday. His characterization of your contributions as dead weight was not only inaccurate, but completely contrary to the values this firm was built on. I want you to know that the senior partners were unaware of how Michael had been managing or mismanaging your career development. Had we known that someone of your caliber was being systematically undervalued, we would have intervened immediately. We are prepared to offer you a position as Senior Vice President with full equity participation, a 75% salary increase, and complete autonomy over strategic client relations. Additionally, we would be happy to discuss bringing your team back at significantly improved compensation levels. I understand this situation has caused significant damage to trust, but I hope you'll consider giving us the opportunity to make this right. Respectfully, Richard Hartwell, Senior Partner, Meridian Solutions. I showed the email to Emma, who whistled low. SVP with equity? That's a serious offer, David. It's the offer they should have made 3 years ago. Are you tempted? I thought about it for exactly 5 seconds. Emma, they had 16 years to recognize my value. They chose not to. Yesterday, when I finally asked for basic respect, their response was to call me dead weight and suggest I should be grateful they kept me around. And today? Today, they're desperate. This isn't recognition, Emma. It's panic. They're not offering me this position because they finally see my worth. They're offering it because they can't survive without it. I hit reply and typed, Richard, thank you for your email. I appreciate the apology, though I note that it comes only after the financial consequences became clear. The position you're describing is exactly what I should have been offered years ago based on my contributions and performance. The fact that it took a mass exodus and client defections for the senior partners to recognize my value tells me everything I need to know about Meridian's culture and priorities. I'm not interested in returning to a company that values employees only when they're walking out the door. Best regards, David Chen, Senior Director, Strategic Operations, Blackstone Consulting. That felt good, I said, hitting send. Emma grinned. I bet it did. So, ready to focus on building something new? More than ready. Monday morning, I found newspapers on my desk with highlighted headlines. Meridian Solutions faces crisis after key departures. Industry veteran Michael Torres ousted. Amid client exodus. The articles detailed how $8.7 million in contracts had been terminated within 48 hours of my resignation, and how Michael was fired for catastrophic mishandling of personnel. How do you feel about Michael losing his job? Emma asked. I feel like justice has been served, I said. Michael spent 16 years teaching me that loyalty was one way. Now he's learning those same lessons. My phone rang. Sarah Martinez called with news that Janet Williams, my first manager who'd left to start her own firm, wanted to partner with Blackstone. She said you're the most professionally competent person she's ever worked with, Sarah reported. An email from Robert Sterling followed. Sterling Dynamics will recommend Blackstone to all subsidiary companies. This represents $23 million in potential business over 3 years. $23 million. I thought about Michael's words. You're lucky we keep you around at all. That afternoon, texts poured in from Meridian employees wanting to join Blackstone. Word was spreading about better opportunities. Then Michael called from an unknown number. David, I need you to know something. You were right about everything. His voice was broken. I lost my job Friday. Want to know what the partners told me? They called me dead weight, the exact words I used on you. The irony was perfect. I'm sorry that happened, I said honestly. David, do you think Blackstone might be hiring? I have 15 years of management experience. Michael, do you hear yourself? You're asking the person you called dead weight to help you find a job. You're right. That's pathetic. It's just ironic. I just wanted you to know you were right about everything, and I was wrong. I'm sorry. I appreciate the apology. Are you happy at Blackstone? Yes, Michael. Very happy. Good. You deserve to be happy. After he hung up, I reflected on how much had changed. Respect isn't something you can demand. It's earned and lost through actions. At home, Lisa asked about my day. Productive, profitable, and satisfying. Any word from your old company? Michael called. He lost his job. How do you feel about that? I feel like 16 years of loyalty should mean something. Unfortunately for Michael, he learned that lesson too late. Any regrets? About leaving? None. About how it happened? None. About giving Michael exactly what he deserved? Definitely none. Lisa handed me wine. So, what's next for the man who turned out to be irreplaceable? Next, I'm building the company I always wanted to work for. Where dedication is rewarded, loyalty flows both ways, and calling someone dead weight means immediate termination. Sounds perfect. It will be. Because I learned something important. What's that? I raised my glass. When someone shows you how little they value you, the best revenge isn't getting angry. It's proving them wrong. To proving them wrong, Lisa clinked her glass against mine,